Welcome to Issaquah Christian Church.
Well, I'm curious if you think this first statement is true. Some of us don't feel rich enough to be generous. You feel like that's sometimes true? Like, I just don't know if I have enough money to be generous. Any of you ever at least felt that, thought that? You know somebody in the room who thinks that way? Actually, scripture flips that. Uh, it's generosity isn't something we do once we have enough. It's actually how God teaches us what enough is. And it's a gift to us for God to train us, because who is the most generous? The giver of life. It's our Father. And I think most of us want that to be said about our lives, or at least want to experience that for ourselves, to be generous. But we tend to think, well, maybe soon. Maybe soon. Heather and I have never had too much money. It doesn't seem like we've ever had like, oh, that's too much. But we've always had enough. And I have ample evidence that my Valentine, this is our 33rd Valentine's Day together. So I have ample testimony that she did not marry me for my money. Our first off-campus date, there's a debate on what our first date was, but our first off-campus date was a free University of Washington Husky football game. Yeah, and my brother had tickets. He was a UW guy, and he gave them to me. And so we went. She didn't want to go. I was thinking we would just ride bikes over from SPU. She did not want to ride a bike on our first off-campus dates. Go figure. What kind of woman is this? Uh, what kind of man is this? Probably a better question. So then, but I didn't want us to spend all that time and go into concessions and buying all that stuff. So I just did the most convenient thing, which was swipe my cafeteria card and get a loaf of banana bread in my, this is the 90s, 93s or 92 at that point. So I had a trench coat with big pockets, and so it was a light colored trench coat. I wasn't all Michael Lang or anything. I was like, for real. So, right, Michael? Yeah, white. So it was a cream colored one. And so I had a banana bread loaf and a chocolate chip loaf in my, I guess you could say I smuggled it in, but it was just for convenience, really. It wasn't just that I didn't have any money. And and her parents giving us a ride to the game, I think, was just a real nice treat because of parking issues. Yeah, just really make it super convenient for them. And also I didn't have a car. That was part of it. So we're fast forward about 4 years to our first Thanksgiving as a married couple. We were so excited. The young marrieds group at our church was putting together baskets for those in need. And so we like got some canned food or whatever it was, and we like donated to the thing. And we were really surprised when one showed up on our door. And we were kind of stoked, actually, that we're on the list. Oh, that's awesome. That is just excellent. Don't mind that at all. Uh, I don't have control of my slides, so I'll just have to figure this out here in a second. But it was definitely humbling, but we're pretty excited about it. So if you've ever thought, I'd love to give more, but with rent and, groceries and loans and, I mean, kids and like, well, maybe someday. I think someday would be a good day to plan to actually be generous. Um, we're not alone. This is a lot of the way a lot of us think a lot of the time. There's a line in our budget, or a line in our bank account where, like, if we just could get to there, then we could really do some good. Jesus, if you recall this, hopefully you recall Jesus generally, but specifically, he saw a widow giving like 2 copper coins into the temple treasury. And that was in connection to someone who was like backing the truck up, his treasury truck, and like, hey, everybody move aside. We got to really load the treasury here. We got to, and fanfare, and like, we're gonna have a big gift. Could we maybe make the hole bigger? Because these gold bars can't quite fit in, and they're just kind of making a big deal about it, right? And Jesus is like, yeah, that woman with the 2 coins, like, that's it. I mean, that is it. That's what I'm talking about. And it's because Jesus doesn't need your money, but he really wants you to develop generosity. So look at that. It's just 2 coins for this widow, and he's just like, "Now that woman gave more than anybody else at all." Like, how is that even possible? What kind of Messiah math is that? Well, he's got something going on, doesn't he? Paul praises churches who gave out of their extreme poverty. Like, that's awesome. Look at that. Goodness gracious. Qohelet, the main voice in our series, in our Ecclesiastes that we've been talking about, he is all about this as well. Um, he says that people with more than we'll ever see sometimes still can't enjoy what they have. What is wrong with that? And so I know some of you could be trusted with more, right? You're like, I'm ready for it. Jesus, give me I want to test me, see if I could take more and be okay. I've got a friend who knows he's got a great strategy for how he's going to win the lottery and not be destroyed. Like every other person who's ever won the lottery gets destroyed. Right? He knows he's got this big plan. Thankfully, part of that plan is to give me money. Uh, so I think he's just hedging his bets there. But actually, test me in this God that gets turned around in the book of Malachi. He says, test me in this. See if I won't just open the storehouses of heaven if you start to become generous. So the test goes both ways. J.I. Packard said that the privilege in knowing God, which is also the title of his book, the greatest privilege in life is knowing God, not just knowing about him. And sometimes we come here because we need to know a little more, because we got stumped. Hey, Pastor, I have this question. My friend asked me this question. I'm not sure how to answer this question. That's fine. Let's talk. I love that sort of thing. But it's not just about data, and it's not just about knowledge. It's actually about knowing Him. Um, I don't talk a ton about it, but I have written several books in this last year, and one of them was called Living Waters. It's like how to become satisfied in Jesus. And it's learning to run to Jesus as a refuge when life gets rough, but also just to actually enjoy him. Enjoy Jesus. Like, what a gift, who he is. It's not just a topic of songs, it's a person to be enjoyed. And if we're not careful, we'll just use Jesus. Right now, Jesus is being used as a mascot for political parties. Jesus wouldn't do that. Jesus wouldn't do that. Jesus wouldn't do that. Like, I wonder, do you know him? Or do you know Jesus? Because a lot of us want to take a label and say it's Bible based or it's whatever, and then we just run for it. And I just wonder, do you know him? Because that's very important how we represent him to the world. And the only way money stops being our unstable support um, and can become a gift is if we actually know Jesus. When this would be my main point today, when Jesus, who's the image of the invisible God, when God is your treasure, you can actually start to hold money lightly. When he is your treasure, you can start to hold money lightly. Our study in Ecclesiastes is using the profile of King Solomon, who was fabulously wealthy and ran every experiment in money. And in money and control and in honor, pleasure, and power, all this kind of stuff. Here is his summary. I'm just going to read it at length, and you can follow along on the screen or in your Bibles. Ecclesiastes 5, verse 10. Listen, church, listen. I think money has a hold on us. It is the American dream, and so then it's the American idol. So then it's got a hold on us. So you just let these words sink in. This is the word of God. You can trust it. He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth with his income. This also is vanity. When goods increase, they increase who eat them. And what advantage has their owner but to see them with his eyes? Sweet is the sleep of a laborer, whether he eats little or much, but the full stomach of the rich will not let him sleep. There's a grievous evil that I've seen under the sun. Riches were kept by their owner to his hurt, and those riches were lost in a bad venture. Ask me about my crypto scam I got involved in last year or 2 years ago. And he is father of a son, but he has nothing in his hand. As he came from his mother's womb, he shall go again, naked as he came, and shall take nothing for his toil that he may carry away in his hand. That's the old line, you don't see hearses with U-Haul trailers behind them. It's just the corpse goes to the grave, right? This is also a grievous evil. Like a grievous evil means it's one of those things that's just really hard to take in. Just as he came, so shall he go. And what gain is there to him who toils for the wind? Moreover, all his days he eats in darkness and in much vexation and sickness and anger. Behold, what I've seen to be good and fitting is to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of life that God has given him, for this is his lot. Everyone also to whom God has given wealth and possessions and power to enjoy them, and to accept his lot and rejoice in his toil. This is the gift of God. For he will not much remember the days of his life, because God keeps him occupied with joy in his heart. There is an evil that I have seen under the sun, and it lies heavy on mankind. A man to whom God gives wealth, possessions, and honor, so that he lacks nothing of all that he desires, yet God does not give him the power to enjoy them, but a stranger enjoys them. This is vanity. It's a grievous evil. And that word evil is often it's just bad. It's just wrong. It just doesn't fit right. It's absurd. It just doesn't make sense of our life, which is why I'm hoping that we'll start to believe that when God is your treasure, you can hold money lightly. So we're hearing things like, he who loves money will not be satisfied with money. What do you make of that? It's one of those things that just doesn't, it's, it's a, it's a God that makes you cash the check. He the God cashes his own check on you. Like, you own it, you think you have it, and you're not satisfied with it. It won't satisfy you. This is one of those disturbing smoke-like things you can't really grab. Or riches were kept to its owner's hurt. Riches were kept by their owner to his hurt. The sense of hoarding and keeping and and a and a pain and a destruction as well. That's interesting. Maybe he's just not very American. That may be, because he's not. But he's also done more tests in money than you have, and so we have to think about it. What if you had all sorts of possessions and honor and money, and you still couldn't enjoy them, right? That's the question that kind of keeps us driving and striving and moving toward some of these goals. Maybe it's in your 401k or your bank account or your gold stash. Um, I don't know. We have to be careful, and we're getting an opportunity to understand this. Um, there's a gold sickness that kind of happens. I don't know if it's from touching it too much. Like my Heather's grandma would talk about how when they were a kid, they used to play with little mercury balls that would roll around on the table, just to bounce them around, boop, 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 split them up with your fingers. And she's like, it didn't affect her at all. We're like, yeah, right, grandma. Yeah, right. But there's a gold sickness, a disordered. So this is it. There's an ordered attachment to money, or an ordered use of money, and there's a disordered attachment to money that promises safety, promises security and joy, but ends up hurting you. And maybe we just need to understand that the lev of money doesn't expand your capacity for joy. If you love money, your capacity for joy actually shrinks because it becomes a singular focus. You start hoarding to your hurt. God's gift becomes a toxin. It's just uh, an interesting way to look from a different perspective at what we're all about as we crave comfort, as we do whatever we can to put boundaries around our comfort. You can have a full part. Think about it this way: you can have a full portfolio and a starving soul. Do you know anybody like that? That you like, you think, wow, I could do so much better. My soul would handle your wealth so much better, your money so much better. You just give it to me and I'll try it. But for them, it just seems like it's just kind of ruining them. How much more is going to be enough? You ask the wealthy person, and they say, well, obviously just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just a little. Why is that? Well, money is a tool, right? Money is a good tool. Um, I just listened to the Lives of the Caesars, uh, uh, new translation from Suetonius, who was one of the, I mean, it's scandalous, but it's one of the really interesting things of the lives of what those people were like. He said Caligula dumped out heaps of gold coins. Well, he's a famously bad person, but he would walk over them barefoot and just like wallow in them with his body. This is the like straight up Scrooge McDuck, right? For those of you that remember DuckTales. Ooh, yeah, there he is. Just whirling in money that will never love you back. It just won't love you back. And if and so if you know this, like a pursuit of money is what destroyed your marriage. Someone, maybe their pursuit or maybe your pursuit. Like, no, it actually what matters is this. I gotta go grind, I gotta go do this, I gotta do that thing. And you're like, well, I'm right here. Didn't we get married together to go do things? So like, no, no, that's great. I'm going to go out there and provide for you. Some of you had parents who bought you toys instead of giving you their time. This is that sort of thing where it's like, I think I just wanted you, mom. I just wanted you, dad. And like, no, no, no. But I'm doing this for you. And you're like, okay, well, just for me. Thank you. Thank you so much. You left me for me or something like that, right? We know these stories. Some of us have those stories. Um, that money doesn't love you back. And so the obsession goes toward where you don't own your possessions start to own you, right? I mean, that's the basic more money, more problems kind of situation. But now you're like worried, how do I secure this? How do I wrap this up? And then you have to become the one who makes it all work out. And wonder if today God's just inviting you into a shift. Just say, money's good, money's helpful. My bills just keep going higher and higher and higher. My taxes keep going higher and higher and higher. They say they want money to pay those things. I totally understand that. Like they're like, well, can I whistle a tune for you? And they're like, no, give us money. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I thought we were trading. So I get it. You need money, and no there's no denial of that. But I wonder about your main money story in your mind. So maybe we could think about it this way. Um, is your main money story, once I have enough, then I'll be generous, then I'll be relaxed, then I'll be at peace? Is that your threshold? Is it a pursuit of once I have enough, and of course in this room and those that are maybe watching this or listening to this later, they think, well, my number is pretty low compared to a lot of other people's numbers, but that's okay. But still think, is your main money story like if I just got this, then I could be okay because money really is the target, really is the focus. Now, for most of us, because we live in America, we're all in this problem because it's all show me the money, right? It's all about that. But just think about it. What if God could become your treasure and you could hold money more lightly? So we have a cure coming in with this diagnosis, thankfully. Enjoyment is a gift, gratitude is the pathway, and then a protective detachment from money that actually begins to open us into generosity. And so on this main floor, this ground floor looking out, where in Ecclesiastes we kind of see a first floor, second floor, third floor. The first floor is kind of like, I look out there, this is just absurd. But the second floor, life is a gift, and the third floor, life is accountable. That's the lens we're looking through. So more isn't enough. More isn't enough. Um, so as we move to the middle floor, we kind of move up a level. What does it look like to receive from God? I think if you don't know this passage, this might help. This might cure you. This is from Proverbs. This is Old Testament wisdom. But listen to, I think the sayings of Agur, this guy that is it ends up in the end of Proverbs. He says, "There's two things, Yahweh, Father God, I ask of you. Deny them not to me before I die. Remove from me falsehood and lying. Give me neither poverty nor riches." Think about that middle zone there. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is needful for me. Oh, give us today our daily bread. Get, feed me with the food that is needful for me, lest I be full and deny you and say, "Who is Yahweh?" Or lest I be poor and steal and profane the name of my God. See the wisdom in that zone of not chasing surplus, not changing, not pursuing more than I need, but just I don't want to get to a point where I say, "Oh, look at the treasure I have built. Let me go for a swim in my coins," right? We don't want to get to a point where we think, "Oh, look at, I have made all of this." We don't want to be, some of you know this from the stories of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar standing at his rooftop gardens, looking out over all that he has done and say, "Wow, I'm pretty impressive, am I not?" And God says, we're going to shift things up for you and make some senile for a while, until he realizes, no, actually, everything I have is a gift from God, and he rules and he reigns and he is the king. And so we can be we can trend toward, wow, I have done a really good thing, as opposed to, wow, I have received from a really good God. Do you know that temptation? Like, wow, I'm doing pretty good, or wow, I'm doing very poorly. And God wants to interrupt that narrative for you. Paul, the apostle to the Gentiles. He was a Jewish man, apostle to the Gentiles. He would start to talk about, and some of you only know the last line of this verse because it's on your workout T-shirt. But let's read a little bit more of the context here. Paul says to the church in Philippi, it's in Macedonia, "I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at length you've revived your concern for me." You're actually starting to chip in for my work among you. This is great. "You were indeed concerned for me, but you didn't really have an opportunity." Not that I'm speaking of being in need. I've learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger. Like, why would you need a secret to face plenty? Don't you just go, "Oh, let it in. Let's open the doors. Let's let the gold in." And why do you need a secret for facing plenty? You only need secrets for facing hunger and want. He's like, no, 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 no. You need it for both. He's thinking, "Give me neither riches nor poverty. Let me," right? "I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me." Okay. That's not just about putting two more plates on the side of your bench press. This might be more about contentment in what God has given you. Isn't that what we want? Or wouldn't some of you, if you could, wouldn't you pay for contentment in your marriage? Then you just like, how much is a day? I just want contentment. It turns out you can't pay for it. This is something only God can do in and through the story that he's writing in you. And so the first cure, I think, might be just gratitude. We talked about it last week. Gratitude is the line between the giver and the receiver, and gratitude is the bond that holds it together. Grateful to God. So some of you just have forgotten, but you need to be grateful to God for the things that you have and be generous with He's given, and then you'll see things shift. You'll see things start to change. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is needful for me. So, so if we could get into a receptive posture, just give me what I need. Give us, that's a family statement. Give us today our daily bread. We stop treating life as something you seize. And I know there are days and there are moments you got to strike out. You got to carpe the diem out of it. Right? I know you got to do it. I know there's something you don't just stay in bed. This doesn't happen by saying, "Well, I'm just waiting for God." Nobody's saying that. But even those opportunities, even that energy, thank you for the energy to go out and seize the day today, Jesus. Thank you for that. Wow, that was awesome. I didn't know I had the energy for that. I bet that's going to prove to just be a wonderful gift from you. Thank you. Just receive, 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 receive. Everything we have, we've received anyway. Contentment in plenty, says Paul, and in want is because Jesus is the secret. Jesus is the one who is the secret. It's not the salary that is the thing, it's Jesus is the thing. And so a second cure would just be to be present to the gift, to the present that He's bringing to us, to enjoy what God sends today as a gift, not, okay, thanks, I'll hoard that and put it there. Okay, so some of you have seen hamsters. Any of you owned hamsters? I apologize if you have. I mean, it's not my fault, but but you know, have you seen the videos of them where they start packing stuff in their cheeks and then they do like the X-ray video of them, and those guys just have, I mean, speaking of more than enough, it's just like, it's like their little pockets go all the way down to their toes or something like that, and it's just like more and more and more and more and more than enough. They used to say that about me, like I eat like I have a hollow leg. They used to say that. Um, but but yeah, just like I've got, it's not just I don't need a food, right? My rental puppy, Lucy, the dog that I walk in the neighborhood, they changed up her bowl, and I don't know if you know about these dog bowls, but the dog bowl was just a stainless steel thing. It fits in there. Now it's this little partitioned little thing, and so the dog can't just wolf or dog it down. I don't know what they say, how dogs talk about it themselves, but like they don't wolf it down, and so they're having to like lick it out of these little spots, and I'm just assuming it's like a little moderator. It's like little speed bumps on the food. Like we need some of that. Some of us need speed bumps. Need the server to say, "Are you sure you'd like a fourth portion, sir?" You know, like a little speed bumps. That'd be good. That'd be pretty good. So receiving as a gift, not like I got to stockpile this. It's got to be now. It's got to be now. It's got to be now. So eating, working, resting, partying, simple pleasures, being with a church, having family, having friends. That's actual wealth. Okay. And what do you think about it? Money? Isn't wealth. Money does not equal wealth. Not in the way we think about it. It's actually this rich lifestyle that you have to curate some. We're trying to do it for you. You know, we're trying to develop those rhythms here as a family at church, but that's wealth. Because you see the person sitting alone, just taking gold coins and pouring them over their head. Do you think they have a lot of friends? No, they have a lot of sycophants. Well, like, hey, so you got some money? Maybe we should hang out till that runs out. And so we know those stories too. You've had friends that have come around you when things were good, and then they leave you when when times are thin. This is a story we know. And so because money is volatile, we need a protective detachment. This is what Bobby Jameson in his book um, about Ecclesiastes is. He said we need a protective detachment coating. So like when you're handling your money, you need some sort of like, so you don't get gold sickness. You need some sort of protective attachment, so that detachment, so you can just hold your money without it actually ruining you. I just want you to think about that. Okay, I gotta chase that money. I gotta get that money. I gotta do this because then I'll, because then I'll. Um, you need to think about, like, okay, that could hurt me. That could own me. I need to be very, very careful about that. So this glove is for free right now. Right now. But money can start to become part of our identity. Jesus said you can't serve both me and money. You can't worship me and worship Mammon, which was a god that people worshipped. Make your sacrifice to the god of money, and he'll give you more money. Uh, so be careful. Be careful. And the coding has been made of these cures here: gratitude, uh, the idea of enjoyment. I can still enjoy this, but want God more than this. I can enjoy it, but I want God more than this. This isn't what fills my cup. Jesus is my treasure. He fills my cup. And then another cure, another coding would be, um, if it wasn't mine to begin with, it's safe to pass it on. If this is a gift that I've received, it's okay. I can share it. That would be a really protective coating on the hands, right? What you're receiving from God. If you see it as a gift, you can share it more freely. Like, I got my wife a bag of chocolate ganache chocolates, and I started to eat them freely. Well, I don't think that's the same. That might be different. But if it's a gift, if I received a gift, then I think she did mention I could have some, maybe. But if it wasn't mine to begin with, it's safe to pass it on. Safe to pass it on. Safe to pass it on. I just want you to think about that. Okay, I've got a certain amount of money. It's safe. I got it from God. It's safe to pass it on because I know where my money comes from. I know where my supply is. Like, no, I got a guy. I have a relationship with the Redeemer of the universe, the one who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. I don't have lack. I just got it as a gift, so here, let's share it. That's how Give Us Today Our Daily Bread works. So this is a warning. This is not a prophecy. This is not a prognostication. This is like, times might get tough. Times might get tough for you. Times might get tough for us, but we would still have wealth. Do you see that? Or we would have each other. We would figure it out because we would have one another. That's what we're looking for in a mindset shift. And so what if the way God teaches you contentment is not by raising your income, but by deepening your enjoyment of Him and loosening your grip? That's right where you're at. Just what if it's not so much about, oh, we just need to give you more money so you could be content, but just deepening your enjoyment of Jesus. And the third level is just thinking through treasure and thinking through trust. Deuteronomy 8, verse 11 through 18 is a whole section about that Moses is saying, hey, when you go into the promised land, when you go in there, and there's going to be houses, there's going to be vineyards, there's going to be fields, you're going to have sheep for milk, you're going to have date palms for the syrupy sugar, or they said milk and honey, right? But you're going to have a ton of opportunity and produce. He says, beware lest you say, my power and the might of my hand have gotten me this wealth. You shall remember Yahweh your God, for it is He who gives you the power to get wealth. Just remember, it's going to be hard because you're going to waltz into a place and you're like, I think I'll take that house. Wow, it's already built. That's amazing. Oh, and look at this pasture, and look at look at all this. I'm pretty awesome. So this is a historic thing, not just an American thing. This is a struggle. And we've learned, we looked at this in First Timothy when we were going through that series in the fall, but godliness with contentment is great gain. And a sharp warning, those who desire to be rich fall into temptation. Those who desire to be rich fall into temptation. I don't know a lot of people who don't desire to be rich. Do you know very many? We could say we know a few, hopefully, but do we know very many people who don't desire to have more than enough? To have surplus? To have a cushion? To have all that? And yet, if we do that, the desire to be rich, we fall into temptation. When it's actually God, says Paul to Timothy, who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. So he says, be generous and ready to share. That'll help you. That's weird, but it actually helps you, trains you. That's, if there's any reason to store up treasure, it's to be able to share it, not to hoard it, because it could ruin you. So just think it in this, who actually is the real treasure? Deuteronomy is warning, hey, when the barns are full, you're going to want to say, I've done this. This is good. My plans succeeded. Jesus has words for those, maybe some of you remember, for those who build bigger barns, like, wow, what a harvest. We need to build bigger barns. This is a story, but Jesus says, you fool, tonight I am going to require your life. Like, that's not what bigger barns, but you have people all around you. Like, what are you thinking? I just need bigger barns. He's like, just share the wealth. Wouldn't it be great to make friends with your neighbors? And wouldn't it be great to share with the poor? Wouldn't it be great to, well, they didn't deserve it. Like, oh, but you do. I forgot. Because you have done all this. Even the power and the energy and the background and the motivation to go get the treasures is a gift from God. And you want a bigger barn. I'm done with you. Lord, do not be done with us. We're learning. We're learning. Paul says that the desire to be rich pierces people with many pangs, but the rich people, set your heart on this. God, who richly provides to enjoy, set your heart on him, to be rich in good work, to be generous and ready to share. Our friend, brother Craig Hunter, he works as a golf pro at a really nice private golf club, and he talks to me often about the miserable millionaires. I'm like, I wouldn't be miserable. So I just ask, is Jesus your joy? Jesu, joy of man's desiring. Is Jesus your joy? The end, Ecclesiastes says basically, fear God because God will bring everything into judgment. And Jesus took the cost, took the pain, took the shame of our sin. And so I just wonder if Jesus is already your treasure, if he is already your inheritance, how tightly do you need to grip that money that's just came in or that's not quite there? If he is your inheritance. So I wonder. I just wonder. Here's some things that we could possibly do. I can't seem to change it, but there we go. Um, could you name what enough would look like for this season? It could be first quarter of 2026. It could be this year. It could be in the next couple weeks. But what would be enough for you? Um, for this year, enough looks like, man, Jesus, if you just help me pay the bills and be smart about what I'm spending on, that would be enough for me. Could you pray, um, Lord, give me neither poverty nor riches. Just give me what I need. Could you figure out ways to practice generosity? Um, think of one area, one one group of people in kind of the margins of where you live, where you work, where you study, or shop, where you play, and think about what would it look like to be a generous person here? To say, hey, I've got this gift. Can I share that with you? Hey, I just received this box of chocolates. Would you like some? Hey, I just received a bonus, or I just received more than I needed of something, and I know that if I hold on to it, I could hurt myself with it, and so I just want to practice giving it because it's just a gift. It could be, just saying, "Wow, why am I among the, I don't know what the numbers are now, but most we talk about like a tithe as a 10%. It's like this generosity buffer. We take it off the top of our paycheck before taxes even, just say, "Okay, Jesus, just to be safe, I'm gonna turn that over to you because I don't even wanna hurt myself here with the money." I and so he trains us, and in Israel, they had even more. If you count the different times they tithed, they had like 23 and a third percent of their income, of their harvest and stuff was just given back, shared, 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 given to the temple, given shared, 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 and God was teaching them, "Well, okay, now watch what I can do with that. Watch what I can do with that. Watch what I can do." So maybe you need to increase that. We have opportunities we've been talking about with the Philippines. They've got people who are willing to build this church, but they need some funds to make that happen. Maybe that's something on your heart. We've been talking about our friends in Haiti who are among the million or so displaced people in Haiti, and there's all sorts of great opportunities to invest there. We have mission teams to Mexico. We have all sorts of local things. Seattle's Union Gospel Mission, just saying, they have a budget crunch right now. That means they're going to lay off like a ridiculous amount of people because as times get tight, guess what's the first thing to go? Generous giving to nonprofit organizations. Seattle's Union Gospel Mission has like an 80%, I think, or maybe like 86% of those who've gone through their program, they're off the streets. And 2 years later, 86% of them are employed, they're plugged into their community, they're housed, they're moving forward. I mean, they have the best success rates you could possibly imagine. And yet they're like fearing the budget crunch because when things get tight, generosity goes down. That's an interesting lesson for like, why is that happening why does that happen in my heart? When it gets tight, my giving goes down. Jesus is like, watch what I could do if you kept that buffer and watch what I could do. Right. So we just have this inverse relationship with God. He's saying, no, no, no. So it's tight. That's great. So give more. Watch me watch what I can do. Or like, I don't believe it. I'm like, well, okay, okay. Maybe add a protective coating. Um, think about um, think about what you're grateful for. I've received this. I've received this. That's right. I've received it. Oh, it wasn't. Yeah, I earned it in the sense that I went to work, but I've received it from God. I actually work as unto the Lord, not as unto my boss. So when I receive a paycheck or when you receive a paycheck, you get that from the Lord through whoever. So whoever signs your check, that's not your Lord. That's not your Savior. That's not your treasure. That's not your prize. So we need to look further, look further. So list out some things. What in your portion? Father, thank you for the portion you've given me. Help me accept my lot. Rejoice in my toil. Keep my heart so occupied with joy in that with joy in you, that gratitude becomes the coating that keeps wealth from owning me. And then just make it easy. Some of you have done this. You're just like, it's not too difficult. I just say, when money comes in, this much goes to God and his work. And then I don't have to renegotiate with God every single time. Some people I know, and part of my what got me into my little crypto scam was I was like, I can't wait. I'm going to pay off this. I'm going to do this. I'll get to work for the church for free. I got to do all that, and instead I was just $22,783 poorer. I mean, not to be too oddly specific, but it was like, oh, I just wanted to work for free. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm not going to say what I called myself at that point, but because I've learned to speak more highly of myself than that. But practice enduring God on purpose. Just like, okay, I just want to enjoy you, Jesus. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to read some stories about Jesus. I'm just going to remember what he did, what he's like, why he is my treasure, why he is my joy. Thank you for this that you've given to me. Thank you for this relationship. Redefine wealth as that whole picture of family and friends and meals and church and that whole picture. And thank God for what he's given to you. Things that don't have to do with just the cash. And you could be generous with your friends too. You could be generous with your church. You could be generous with the resources you have here. You can invite friends to say, "Hey, I know you're going through a tough time right now. Come join us at our church. We'd love to gather around you, pray for you, be there for you." Well, I don't know if I believe all that stuff yet. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to believe everything. You don't even have to behave every single, Christian way right now before you just belong. We're gonna bring you into the family and let's walk together through that. So be generous with your church too. Say, "Hey, I have a small group that meets at my house or over here, and you're welcome to come join." Because people are really longing for friendship too. I went to a summit on social connection in Issaquah this last week. I've been involved with several meetings that lead up to this as part of the previous mayor, Mary Lou Powley's, like desire to how do we get after this loneliness issue in our city? So I went to the summit. We had our ideas, talked to the new mayor, did different things like that on Thursday night, I think it was, and I was just like, oh, what they really need is a church. That's what they need. That's what our city needs. It's like a church family where they have connections. They can learn to have conversations. They can share with one another. They can have a sense of mutuality where it's not just like I'm always being given to, but I can give back too and feel dignified in the midst of that. Oh, but I was just looking down and I can talk to you privately about some of the initiatives that we're going to try in the city. And I'm just like, oh man, that's so crazy. This is like exactly what the church's mandate is to be those kind of people for the city. So doors are opening for more and more opportunities like that. So prepare your hearts for that. Prepare to be generous with your time. Be generous with your relationships. Be generous with the wealth that God has given to you, not just the cash money. Because ultimately, when God is your treasure, you can hold money lightly. It's true. It really is true. But God isn't recruiting fundraisers. Don't don't get don't get me wrong. I mean, yes, fund to the church. Yes, please do. But that's not. He's not just recruiting fundraisers. He's actually inviting sons and daughters into a family around a table that is so rich and so wealthy in that sense that you can actually be satisfied at the master's table. I mean, he has so much to offer, and then when God is your treasure, you can hold money lightly, uh, and you can receive your portion with gratitude, share it freely with open hands, trusting that in Christ you already have more than enough. This is the life of a follower of Jesus, and you're being invited to go deeper into treasuring Jesus because he absolutely is enough. Yeah, can you say that with me, church, that Jesus is enough? Yeah, confess it. Jesus is enough. If all I had was Jesus, that'd be enough. And and it's true.